and Philip Siracusa, sponsored by Carnation, airing live on the United Public Radio Network on 105.3 FM in New Orleans. This show's entrance has been edited, produced, and directed by Gwen Clapper from Perfect Trust Productions, LLC. You can find us at perfecttrustproductions.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday night's segment of Horsefly Chronicles Radio with myself, Julia Siracusa, and Phil Siracusa. We're broadcasting live from the International Public Radio and the United Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM from New Orleans. This evening's show is fully sponsored by Carnation, so we want to thank them for their sponsorship. You'll have to do a few things in order to participate. Go over to our YouTube channel, UFO Paranormal Radio, or International Public Radio. You can also go into all of the Facebook stations, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, UFO Undercover with Joe Montaldo, News on the Flip Side, Twitch, SoundCloud, and Podbeam. And if you have any questions for our guests, please ask. So tonight, guys, we have some amazing guests. A couple of us haven't gotten in yet, so hopefully they will come up. So please welcome to the show Vinnie Vineyard, Luke Walker, Amber, Kirby, Kandi. They are the actors, directors, writers for Big and Funky Productions. Vinnie created their own paranormal TV show, Wrestling with Ghosts, with his tag team partner, Luke Walker. They started writing and producing 6 movies about some of the legends, myths, and stories surrounding the Great Smoky Mountains. You can find these guys on their website, funkmasterv.com. So please welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Yay. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Can I be honest about something?
No.
I'm gonna have some shirt. Luke, can I be honest about something, sir?
Yes, I guess. I just don't swear, my friend.
I know that's what I'm worried about. I'm going to, before we dive into the show, I'm going to enjoy a delicious beverage. You'll never guess what it is. Carnation Instant Breakfast.
That is 100% what I'm drinking. I'm having one with oat milk right now.
Amen. If I could afford it, I'd take a bath in that stuff every freaking morning. And what I do now, I get a little pan. And I get the Funkette. I may get one in here. Funkette 332s around. She may bring out during the show a little pan, put a little bit of like an inch and a half of the Carnation Instant Breakfast. I'll dip my Tootsies in. I'm walking on a cloud. I swear to God.
I love it. That's what I was definitely not expecting that. It's so cool.
Well, there you go, Carnation.
So, guys, we had you guys on the show September 2021.
Wow.
It was actually, I saw on my Facebook memories that it was a year ago today.
Really?
What? No way.
That's ironic.
Yeah, he's right.
We are definitely living in the Matrix. I don't care what anyone says.
Right.
You know, you guys have such amazing bios, and I could not read them all, but we're very excited to talk.
All right, so it's a 1-year anniversary. Oh, sorry.
Happy anniversary. I didn't get you guys anything. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
We'll send you out the mailing address.
Please do.
Are you guys still at the Horsefly Chronicles house there?
We are still at the home, surviving. We are happy to wake up every single day of the week that we do wake up. We go to bed with some nightmares and tremors. And
I think every day that we both look at each other to see if like the other one's still breathing. I mean, it's
yeah, this is true, and that will be talked.
I thought you guys got rid of the who's he what's it?
Well, here? You know, we for a while we did. House was cleared up for a long time, but some of these things, you know, they play trickery too. So
no, that's no good.
Having said that, Let's talk to the new guest now.
Yes.
What's your name?
My name's Amber Schultz.
And tell us about yourself.
So I have a musical theater background, and so that's where a lot of my
Pick it up, Lord. Musical bell. Talk to you later.
they do this to me all the time. It's fine. But I have known Vinnie actually since I was 19, I believe. We actually worked together many years ago at the same place. That's how we met. And so I kept up with him over the years whenever he ran for governor and stuff. So, and I saw they were making a second movie. And so I messaged him and I was like, hey, can I be in your movie? And kind of the rest is history. I've been on board since. So
That's awesome.
And you guys,
She's also.
you guys just did a movie, right? You just finished wrapping it up, or is it still? Are you still?
Well, we're on a third one in 2 years, so it feels like one is dropping, one is being promoted, and one is being created at the same time, and we're planning another one. So it's
wow.
It's kind of blending into one another a little bit. But yeah, we just dropped. One just was released in May. We had one released last June, and then we're finishing up one, hopefully to be released this year, and then we're writing the next one. And then Kandi, who can't get through, she sent me a message. She's writing the fifth one. She's also down in South Carolina with no internet, apparently. So you guys don't get to see her pretty face. But anyway, she's no matter how talented and beautiful is, she's awkward as heck. So it's a good thing she's not here. She would make everybody feel weird about themselves.
No.
That's what Luke said. That's what Luke told me to say.
I just write the scripts, man. It's up to you to read them.
So let's talk about these movies.
Yes.
Give us some ideas. What's going on?
Well,
what's behind it and all that good stuff.
This is Big Luke. One of the things that we really wanted to present to the world is, first of all, we are big and funky. We're a comedy, pro wrestling, but we take things seriously, but we don't do things seriously. We wanted to tell some stories about some local legends and local cryptids. We're down here in the Gatlinburg area of Tennessee in the Smoky Mountains, and there's a lot of local legends in this area, and we wanted to kind of use those as the basis for each one of our stories. The first movie, The Hike, is the underlying antagonist is Spearfinger, which is a Cherokee. Cherokee legend. Well, it's in all the. Shut up. And then WJHC, we kind of went a little bit out of the box, but it also tackles a lot of the kind of religious dogma that has gotten out of control in this area. I can't tell you what the movie we're currently filming is called, Camp Smokey. I can't tell you what it's about, what the cryptid is. That's kind of,
be careful
if there is a cryptid, but it has to do with demons, and it's a kind of a slasher movie set in this area as well. So all of our movies kind of, Spearfinger was the Hike was written based off of a paranormal investigation we did for Wrestling with Ghosts, where we were in her area and in the woods, 15 miles out from civilization, and we saw and heard a lot of things, and it kind of started developing into the story of The Hike. And then we wanted to make a actually serious horror movie and tackle the subjects that we did, and as soon as the cameras started rolling, that serious did not happen. It turned into a comedy, but we try to treat everything with respect as far as the paranormal and cryptid aspects go of these movies, while surrounding it with how people would react, real world people or comedic people would react to these crazy events going on around them.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Luke?
Here we go.
Are you all right?
Yeah,
we are ready.
Is it infected? Did you get that looked at?
I'll probably lose the finger.
Okay, I'm worried about you.
Uh-oh.
I just wanted to just he's my friend. I wanted to make sure. I like how he was like, "Here we go." He did that whole spiel. Yeah. So everything Luke said, right on the money there. That's he's from Chicago. I'm from Baltimore. Amber is from an orphanage in Memphis, and so we wanted to say there needs to be a spotlight on Smoky Mountains. There's not a lot of stories coming out here that doesn't have Dolly Parton involved, and Baltimore has been done, Chicago, New York. So there's a lot of stories. This is an interesting place. It's a zany place. There's great stuff here. We love it. We choose to live down south, but it is nutty. But there's nice things about the South too. Like we went up there to go see you guys to do an investigation at your house before COVID hit, and it's been a long time since I've been in Jersey. I never saw so many Dunkin' Donuts in my life. In fact, I almost hit 3 driving in there. It was they jump out in front of you sometimes.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts are like Dollar Generals down here. It's just
Our state's really lazy, so they want to make sure that everyone doesn't have to drive too far.
I mean, every corner, there's a Dunkin'. Must be the number one employer of New Jersey up there.
So, who gets picked on the most when you guys are all traveling and?
Travis. No. When Travis is with us, it's Travis. But Travis has grown up, and unfortunately, he's like, I don't like being picked on any longer. And so Amber has not. Amber's kind of slid in that position.
So she took the role.
Yeah. So, but we always loved picking on Travis. But Travis is now a man. He's not. He was kind of the kid when we first started, and now he's just kind of like, okay, pick on me. It's not fun anymore. Before it was like, God, those kind of noises would come out and you'd be like, this is a lot of fun, but not any longer.
And every woman over 50 around would start mothering them like, oh, I'm so sorry. They mess with you so bad. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was our shtick for a long time. Pick on Travis. We look like jerks. And then, Travis would go behind the 7-Eleven and some magical things would happen with the 50-year-old lady of the evening. You can connect the dots on what we're trying to say here without saying it, because we don't want to insult the people of New Orleans. In fact, I'm working on a New Orleans. You guys are in terrestrial radio. I'm working on a New Orleans accent. Luke, have you heard this yet? To talk like somebody from New Orleans?
I don't think you should do this.
No.
What?
No.
It's I'm trying to honor the people of New Orleans.
You're gonna remember when you tried to honor the people of Bristol, Virginia, and you ended up getting us kicked off of the radio because you
But that wasn't my fault.
I mean, yeah, it was. It
They took it the wrong way. They didn't like it. All right, I won't do that. But if I say something in a different accent later in the show, that's me doing New Orleans, but I'm not going to spell it out loud for everybody.
No.
Amber, I have a question for you. How, any paranormal experience that really left a mark on you?
Yeah, actually, whenever I was 16, we had moved into this house where a lady had been murdered. Oh. And after the first few months, just things started moving around, like the doors would open, things would knock off the counter. And we thought it was strange, but we didn't think anything about it. But one night I woke up and it was like 3:00 in the morning and I was numb, from head to toe. And I looked down at the foot of my bed and this white figure walked into the room and actually lit up the room. And I felt like she was trying to pull me up. And all of a sudden she disappeared and there was a lot of anger and a lot of sadness in the room and I couldn't move for about another 15 minutes and I saw her consecutively at least once a month while we still lived there.
Wow.
Did you see her through the mind's eye or through the physical eye?
Physical eye. It was really? It was a clear apparition and it's the room lit up almost really bright light with her in there and the whole environment changed. It was the strangest thing.
Wow.
Well, Amber has joined us on a couple paranormal episodes that we did recently where we filmed in North Carolina. We filmed down at a place called the Greenback Castle in Tennessee, and she did really good. She's real professional. She knows when to keep quiet, unlike Funkmaster V.
What are you trying to say about me up my Cajun self, huh?
See, there he goes. It's terrible. You just don't do it.
Awful. You just can't.
I'm working on it.
You're-
It's a character.
You're not good with voices, man. Just stick with the Italian accent and roll with that. But no, Amber did really good. She's very professional, but and she wasn't scared to be like thrown into a room in a castle all by herself. And you know, she's not the type to go running and screaming or, you know, get excessively scared. Or if she is, she doesn't outwardly emote it. And you know, it's a good thing to have. She's a very good asset. Also, she doesn't mind holding the camera, which the way we shoot Wrestling with Ghosts is like, we don't want to have a camera crew there. We want to have the investigators and then pass the camera from person to person. Right. Because I think, you know, too many things get in the way when you start having people that are not really involved with the investigation, holding electronic equipment, you know.
Yes. You know, and you guys have a different approach when you guys are investigating. And I know we talked about this last time you guys were on, but you know, we really admire it. Can you tell us like how you're different from other paranormal teams out there that are investigating?
Well, most paranormal teams kind of and this is not a shot at all. This is just you know, observational. Tend to be very serious. Tend to be very bland, and that's, like I said, it's not a shot. That's kind of, you know, they know a certain way to investigate. That's how they do it. Well, we found that when we were joking around, being friendly, and bringing positive energy, we were actually getting a lot more responses, because one, that would make the energies that are around us that aren't necessarily bad, because, you know, you got to realize that, you know, most of the world, if you look around, aren't bad. And so why is it only the bad spirits that are around? Shouldn't there be good spirits? So we're trying to talk to them. And then also that would actually antagonize some of the bad to where they would react more, because they were getting aggravated because they weren't getting they were getting us, you know, joking with them or being smart alecks to them instead of being afraid of them. Because I think that positive energy in investigations, and like I was said, it's a serious subject, and just because something's serious doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. Just, you know, and just because you're having fun with it doesn't mean you don't take it seriously. We have a lot of fun with what we do, and I'll be honest with you, a side effect of this whole Wrestling with Ghosts and paranormal investigations is like, we got to go up to your guys' house and have a good time, road trip with the friends, go over to Philly, eat cheesesteaks, sleep in a hotel room, Dutch oven each other. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and so I think that teams that don't have fun are kind of missing out on that aspects of it. And a lot of people I think are afraid to admit that they have fun on things because they're afraid of other more serious paranormal people kind of bringing attacking them for, what are you doing having fun? And then they can attack us all they want, because we're outsiders. We do our thing self-contained. We don't, you know, we try not to be influenced by other people of how we do things.
Everyone on the show believes in ghosts, and you know, I always have this question mark. Now, my house especially, we've had a lot of teams here, and then there's a lot of haunted locations around the world. But one thing I do notice is that let's say you're doing an investigation and you're really starting to feel something going on, as you would call the funk, and then you stop investigating and then you're mingling with the family, right? Did either one of you ever think of what's actually happening as you're doing that with the spirits? So do you think because you're not investigating anymore that A, the spirits wander away because they don't want to hear your conversation, or B, they're listening and latching on. Give me some thoughts on that.
Well, I think with what happened with you up there, it was very interesting because when we first started, there was a lot of oppression. There was a lot of strange things happening, and then there was a heavy feeling when we first started trying to shoot our little show up there at your place, and then when we kind of just didn't relent and we kind of were knuckleheads continually, and we were doing investigations and we were asking questions and we were doing experiments and stuff, but eventually everything just stopped. And it just felt like these whatever's in your house, for example, was just like, whatever, these guys aren't going to play the right way. I've had a couple of people, now I don't know. Again, I'm still a skeptic in a lot of ways, but I've had people on Facebook and mutual friends of ours who said that the spirits were very confused, or they had particular opinions about me and Luke and Travis and Kandi. And so they just didn't want to play anymore to that day. And if you remember, after we were gone, you said it was a little bit lighter around the house for a period of time. I can't remember how long it was, but who knows? You know, I mean, if you have what's going on at your place happening, and it's a heavy thing. I mean, you know, we threw them a knuckleball at least for that day, and I don't know if they got irritated or they liked it, or they were like, "We'll just come back later." Who knows? What do you think there, Luke? And
commonly to answer that question, kind of broached it a little earlier, is if something is trying to get your attention and you acknowledge it's there, like I'm sitting in a chair in that room in your basement, and the chair starts like lifting up on me, and it's a concrete floor, that should not be happening. If it's exerting that much energy to try to contact me, and then I just go ahead and I was like, all right, start to ignore it. From an investigator standpoint, it kind of is bad for your house, but if you ignore it, then it's going to try harder, and it's probably going to do some things maybe a little bit more public or visible that we can interact with, so everybody else can see that it's got everybody's attention. Because honestly, it's what it is. If they're trying, that's what I think. If they're knocking things over, they're trying to get attention. If you acknowledge that they're there and then ignore them, I think they're going to try to get your attention even more. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At your guys' house, we did that. We're in the room, and then, like Vinny said, we kind of ignored it, stirred it up, talked about it, but ignored it, and it went away, which is actually very rare for us, where something, leaves us alone when we kind of start being us.
I think it's fascinating. I try to think what spirits are thinking, and do they, what do they do? They just go away? Do they just lay dormant till the team leaves? But I want to say that, Luke, something that happened to you happened to me 2 months ago, and I don't believe in coincidences. So when you were in that room and you said on the end of the trailer that you made for the film here, you said something, I feel like something touched my left testicle, or whatever you call it, however you want to say it on the air. Well, but this is interesting. Now, 2 months ago, we were cleaning up my son's room upstairs, and he's very isolated in that room, Jake. And something, I felt like, got a knife and stabbed my testicle, and I went right down. I went down for the count, and I had to get out of that room. And then I'm thinking about what you said, and I'm like, there is no coincidence here. What's the odds of that? And I'm saying that to my wife, like, what is this thing? Like, what is it going after certain body parts, for example? Like, get out of here. You don't belong here. So I personally,
it's a street fighter.
But it's interesting because it took me down within a minute. It's like, it really hurt bad. And I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking about the psychology behind everything, because I wasn't investigating. We're trying to help the kid clean his bedroom. And I think because he's so isolated, that something else might be part of that isolation, for example, and saying, "Don't come here."
Well, that was one thing that we did not want to, a subject we did not want to broach on the episode of Wrestling with Ghosts, was that, and we'll deal with you directly here with it, is we felt like whatever was there was causing friction in your family. And it was, it was causing, a little short-temperedness, a little, it was causing a little oppression in your family. We didn't want to go with that. It said we didn't want to say that on the episode because, you weren't there to talk about
yourself.
That. But yeah. That's, I would think that it might target individuals. When we were there, we felt like it was actually getting to you a little more than everybody else. And then also, your son Jake's a great kid, and he seems to kind of float in and out with having a little bit of an attitude to then all of a sudden being very cordial, and then all of a sudden he was starving, and I think it's because you made those sausages. But he seemed to have a bit of a little bit of an oppression about him, a little temperamental as well. And I think, what you got going on over there was definitely something that was affecting, and going after testicles also, it's a male thing.
It's a male thing. Yeah. And it's ironic that, you think about it, like I try to think about what this thing is thinking to do something like that, right? I hear back pain or migraines and headaches, but that particular part, it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
What,
I don't think you really even realized it happened to Luke till later on.
Yeah.
And it hit you.
Yeah.
Well, we put it in. I put it in the commercial because it's such a. The way that Luke phrased it is hilarious. We won't say it on the radio, but I mean, it's just a rare thing that he's sitting there. It builds up, and he's like, "My balloon hurts." So it's a unique thing for sure, And you should probably go see the doctor. You may have who knows? You may have an old.
I'm fine. After I left the room, I was fine. I won't clean the room anymore.
Look, come on, Phil.
I'm not going in that room.
Let's not get dramatic. I mean, you were cleaning the room, you were helping, but I mean, I was doing most of the work. You definitely went in there, you helped, and then you left.
No,
I'm gonna use that tonight. I got a chore to do. I'm gonna be like, my Bob alone. I'm gonna fall on the ground and then
no, but it is very. That room is very
off-centered.
Yes.
Upstairs. But enough with us. So let's go back to Amber now. Amber, so we talked about something you've seen with the physical eye, not the mind's eye. Take us to a next encounter of your life, and then anybody else witness what you've seen.
So the ghost of the lady that was in the trailer, my brother actually witnessed her too, around the same time on different nights. But there was a house that my husband and I moved into whenever we moved into up to Montana, and we had been there for a while. And I was cleaning and I went to dust like the door frame because I'm weird and I do that. And I noticed that there was oil crosses on over the frame, and I'm like, that's weird. So then I started going and I checked. All of the frames had the same cross, and I told my husband, I'm like, this house is blessed. Something has gone on in this house. And we had a big picture window. It's like a huge picture window in the living room. And one night I was turned off the light and I went to close the window, and there was a shadow of a man standing outside of the window like he was trying to peer in. But it wasn't a human. It was an apparition. And I had this distinct feeling. It was that spirit trying to get back into the house, but couldn't. It was crazy. Mm-hmm.
He lost his keys.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, and Amber's just to put it over, Amber's husband's a very serious. He's a great guy. He's a combat veteran. He's very, very, very. What is he like? Serious isn't the right word. I think it's very grounded. He's a very grounded guy.
Gentle lover. too.
Yeah, very. He's got a soft
Very,
touch.
yes.
But he's not the type that would be given to if he sees something, he sees it. And he's not, he wouldn't be one to, back up her story or so. I would.
Yeah.
It's very
That's
credible
interesting.
guy.
That's interesting. Now, here's a question, Amber.
Mm-hmm.
You just said that the spirit ghost wanted to try to get into the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's my question to every one of you. Even myself, I rack my brain around this. Well, because a spirit or ghost is energy, are they somehow manifested in a way where they think they can't get through the door or the wall? And that's a serious question. I always think about that. What do you think about it?
I've thought about that quite a bit because me and Vinny have a attachment. It's a little that we picked up that actually was at your house with us. Her name's Megan, and she's a little girl, maybe 9 years old. We know where we picked her up and everything, but I find it odd that usually when she makes her appearance at my house or anything, it'll be after I'm here for a while. So it wouldn't be like she'd come through a door or anything. There's been no door opening. I think they probably, whatever the spirits are, probably all have different ways of doing things. Some know a little bit more. So,
Mm-hmm.
Megan's a little kid, so everything was probably mystical in her life up until the point of her murder. And so she probably just thinks, oh, I could just float, Santa Claus is still coming down the chimney type thing.
I agree. I agree with that. I think there's a movie, since we're making movies and we're movie makers, I've become a fan of a movie house called A24. And they did The Witch and everything, everywhere all at once. They make these independent movies that are really interesting. And there's so many superhero movies. It's nice to have lower budget independent movies, and they make some good ones. And they had one called A Ghost Story. And it looks corny because the ghost in it just has a bed sheet with eye holes. But if you watch the movie, he'll look down, or the ghost will look down. He dies. He's a guy in the movie. He dies, and he's like wandering around the house. And time doesn't exist. He'll look down, he'll look up, and everybody's moved out of the house, like in a snap of the fingers. And I do think, first of all, I just want to say nobody knows what any of these things are. They could be time travelers, interdimensional beings, residual energy, demons, angels, dead bodies, or dead spirits. Who knows what they are? Or something we can't even perceive what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think because ghosts aren't always, I'm saying ghosts with whatever these things aren't always around beck and call. They're not in the house. You can't go in there and go, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm here to collect the rent." You can't scare them, or they're not. You can't trick them out or freak them out. They kind of arrive when they feel like it. So I kind of feel like they fade in and out of reality. Time and space are man-made concepts, pretty much. So they probably float through time and space in ways we can't even perceive or know how to control. And you may see a spirit that's existed for 1,000 years, and the next minute maybe it went backwards and came back up through, and now it's only been there for 20. And I think what Luke hit on, and even this movie hit on it too, I think some spirits, or whatever these things are, have different levels of mastery of their own perception and existence. Like some may feel trapped. So, like he said, if it's a girl that was murdered and the energy or the spirit's still around, she's just having the best time in her life. In my house, she turns on toys all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So she's horsing around with knickknacks or whatever. And I feel bad because there is a lot of mature lovemaking through every room of the house.
Oh, God.
I want to say,
gross.
I want to say I apologize to all the spirits that are underage.
Oh my goodness.
And
I feel like Luke is like the little kid, and he's like, "Dad, that's gross."
Yeah.
We're just wrestling. It's all we're doing is wrestling for the wrestling show.
And Megan, if you're listening, you come over to my house again, hang out, or don't go to his house. We're a Christian family over here, and we don't partake in those weird, crazy things that he's talking about in the 90s.
a foot is a part of the body that deserves attention.
Would you
Like any
stop
other
it?
part.
Would you stop it? You're so disgusting.
I definitely think it's interesting. We see like these videos and some ghosts, actually you see a door open or you hear footsteps on stairs and the stairs don't exist. And
I
it
think
kind of makes me
that's
feel like there's
amazing.
2 dimensions crossing.
Yeah.
How? No, but that's what it kind of seems like, that residual.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating. It's fascinating. We don't know, right? No one knows exactly what we're dealing with. Who knows, right? And you said time travelers, and I'm a firm believer in time travelers too. I think there's enough evidence out there to kind of coincide that with the paranormal world.
Definitely.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the things that I understand about time travel is that physical objects could not travel through time. Because it's broken down. Time that exists right now only can be reviewed if something goes faster than the speed of light, and then they catch the light refractions and can view it. And that does seem kind of, light refractions, energy, collected energy, that could probably maybe pass through time. But I don't think, and solid objects, I don't think could. So that could be another explanation right there of.
What about Jello?
Well, see, Jello, I'm not going to go into it, Jim. Vinny, shut up.
It's not solid. It's
Just-
kind of this loose. We could shoot some lime Jello into the past and see what they think about it.
You poor thing, Amber.
Well, let's think about this. Has anyone had keys disappear? And you put the keys in a certain spot, and maybe you're doing an investigation, or your house is and they're gone. And then all of a sudden, a little bit later on, they reappear.
In the same spot.
Has it ever happened to either one of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there's a solid object, and it's happened to us. It's happened to numerous people that we know in different locations.
I don't know if that traveled through time or was just moved. Like something took it and moved it and then put it back.
But even if something took it and moved it, and it's not caught on any kind of surveillance, and then it reappears, where did it go?
It's a good question.
And Vinny, going back to you said time. Time doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist. But it's the manipulation of time, how these things are able to use parlor tricks. They put the veil over us, right? This is what you see, and then the veil comes, and this is gone. It's mind-blowing how that works. And again, I says, well, why did my car disappear and then reappear, or something big, right? But the little objects, everyone's not stupid and crazy to know. I put a key over here and it's gone, a wallet over here and it's gone, my watch down and it's gone, and it happens to. So it's a smaller object, and it does happen, and it fascinates me. Like, well, where could it possibly go? I can't tell you how many teams have investigated my home, and they're fighting over where's their cell phone. Who took my cell phone?
And
Where's my cell phone?
It knows what to take to make you all at each other.
And it's a mind blower, because you have to say to yourself, well, where'd it go?
Well, I tried to explain to my son just the other day, which is weird, this comes up, is things about like where science, we're trained to think with what we know, not with what we don't know. Like you always say that, they always say there can't be life on Venus because carbon-based creature or a carbon-based life form couldn't live there. I was like, well, what if it's not a carbon-based life form? Same thing, like the UFO sightings that have been around that are, that can travel through the atmosphere, through the air, and through water at the same rate of speeds. And they said we can't duplicate that on Earth. I was like, well, maybe we can. We just aren't thinking. We're thinking with what we're trained, not with what's actually out there. With the that's why I don't believe that there's such a thing as settled science, is because is there's always something that could shatter that entire the entire theory. But and that might also be where the paranormal lies within a science that we just don't understand, and we probably could if we could think differently, but we think with what we know. We don't think outside of the box. There is no outside of the box for us.
And I just want to say, if I want to start thinking sharper and I start tackling things like quantum physics, I take myself a big gulp.
Carnation and some breakfast.
The hell yeah. And I'll just
drink up that carnation, gentlemen. Well, that goes like the pyramids too. You know, they come forward today and say we still cannot duplicate the pyramids. We can't do it. And there's no logic of ramps being built to get the perfect dimensions of that pyramid, all the pyramids. So you have to say to yourself, was there better technology and more awareness and understanding of how to do things we just can't do?
Well, you know, Bill Gates famously said that if he'd rather have lazy people do things than motivated people, because lazy people will find a way to do a hard thing easier. And so it might be to the point where we're out thinking ourselves. There's a lazy way to explain it that we just cannot comprehend because we're too motivated.
There's a lot of things inside the pyramids too, though, like completely flawless panes of glass that you can't replicate that today. And they even said they can't even mathematically make a pyramid quite right, even with today's technology. So it's pretty, because even it's tough to make a pyramid, right? Because it's like everything has to be perfect. And if you go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and see their horrible Bass Pro Shop pyramid, there's even like a 6 foot wide piece where it was kind of like, oops, we kind of jacked that up there, and it was kind of like an extension, so it can kind of be a complete square. But it would be very difficult to make that. So you have to wonder if there was some sort of help, heavenly, extraterrestrial. If it's just what Luke says, you had a will and a way, and if you didn't make this thing right, somebody's going to hit you with a whip or something. I'm not sure, but it is a mystery for sure.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in energy. To me, everything is energy, and they might have had a different way of manipulating energy that we don't have anymore.
We don't have anymore.
Yeah.
So then, doesn't that scare you in a sense that we don't have any more? That means it's become extinct. They've become extinct.
There is a school of thought, one of many, that technology was more advanced in some ways before the biblical flood. And if you think about this way, I'm not saying I prescribe to this or subscribe to this, but if we had an extinction level event and there's only the 5 of us left on the planet Earth, I'm calling dibs on Amber first. I want to say that. But like if we had to procreate and live, all of the technology would be gone. We're all smart, bright people. None of us are scientists. We couldn't replicate television. We couldn't replicate water power. There's very few things we could sit around and talk about ghosts and make some jokes. But we're not experts in the things of science, I don't think. Maybe you guys are. I know me and Luke and Amber are not experts. So everything would revert back to cavemen type living, right? So if there was a flood, if it was the Noah gimmick that really happened, no matter what they had back then, everything reverted to them just being on a boat going, well, that sucked. I was going to watch Boardwalk Empire tonight to see the season finale. Now there's no televisions left. So they had to start over and, start making campfires and stuff.
And I've heard this theory too. And they would say, metal, why wouldn't there still be structures? Why wouldn't there be, things like that? But, there's metal all through the ground that's broken down. You can collect, filaments, magnets, all that stuff. It might have been here and just they built with a different thing. Maybe their technology wasn't based on metal and elements. It was based on mud. It was based on wood. We don't know.
We don't know. And it's interesting and scary because when we become extinct and eventually everything will become extinct, will those that come thousands of years later know anything from us, or it starts over again?
Well, think on this. Like I think our thinking is becoming extinct right now because we carry around a brain in our pocket. All the knowledge that we need is a cell phone.
Oh,
So we don't have to think; we have to Google. So
Yeah.
that is going to eventually get us really stupid.
Yeah.
hold on a second. I agree, Luke.
I mean, it's true. It really is true.
No, but it is
You didn't
true.
do that.
I-
You didn't do
I
that in a
can't
New Orleans
believe
accent. I can't believe it.
I'm Googling things. I mean, it's
Yeah, well, that's
everything.
true. That's true. We put
And now
down
it comes
the.
to the point where you're actually Googling your kids' homework too. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. We're on a small rock in the middle of nowhere, and to think that we know it all. I mean, we're just a speck of sand. in
Well,
the
I
middle
find
nowhere.
myself Googling stuff that I know. I was like, I know this. What is this? Oh, I can't. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, that's it. That's
true. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. All right, so tell us what you guys have coming up. And you know what? During like all the filming and investigations going forward, tell me some of the things you want to capture and some of the things you want people to see in the films that you want to be different than other films. Now, we've seen The Hike. We loved it. We like the way you do things because you do things in a
Very different.
in a different way, and yet you get down to the core of it. So go ahead and talk a little bit about where you see yourself going with the films.
Mostly, we are actually fans of how we took in content when we were kids. VHS, slasher movies, horror movies at the video store. Going to the theaters and seeing movies. I saw Clerks in the theaters. That's a movie that would never get released in theaters because of the quality of the film, not the quality of the story. That's kind of what we're trying to tap into and hopefully give the nostalgia to people who lived through that era of the video store type of movies, and also introduce a new generation to that kind of, everything doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have, all the CGI doesn't have to be great, practical effects. But we also want, like people right now keep saying that the movie Blazing Saddles is offensive, but if you watch it, it's the opposite of offensive, but people can't fathom that's it's comedy because it's making fun of people. We want to kind of let people get back into that mindset where we're allowed to make fun of each other.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
I love Mel Brooks.
And I think what Luke and I's strengths are, besides just very sexy,
the bench press,
sexy, just bodies. I'm telling you, you should, ladies should see this. It's just amazing what we got going on.
Would you stop it?
But also, I think our strengths is the dialogue, and every one of our movies, they're very different. All these movies, when you watch WJHCAM, which is our second movie, it is so different from The Hike. You guys will be like, wow, this is like a totally different filmmaker. But what is the same are the dialogue driven, just the dialogue. And we have a kind of a way about ourselves, and that's kind of our calling card, is the way that we speak. And so now The Hike had a very small cast. Now you saw it today. If anybody saw the placards for the event today, there were 5 people supposed to be on the show. There's like other people on the show that aren't on the show. We're like pioneers. It's like we start with something, half of us die off. There's new people at the end of it. It's just this creative, just amazing, changing group of people. And we're very lucky because we have access to pro wrestlers, to drag queens, to furries, to actors, to comedians, to magicians, to musicians. You just go down the whole list of a bunch of entertaining people. And so we want to showcase our friends too. But I think the thing that we, in all these movies, is going to be about dialogue. There are effects, there's murder, there's boobs, there's good stuff, there's bad stuff that happens in these things. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about talking, because I think as a society, people are not talking. It's like what Luke was saying about the Google with the brain type thing. We're not communicating anymore. And I think, man, the 90s were great. And we just kind of want to be harbingers of that vibe with new flavors that from the new millennium. So we're trying to combine that, really. And to be honest, anybody can watch these movies. I think anybody can like them, but they're really for people our age. I mean, they're all nostalgic shots back to when we were young, like Luke was saying about the video cassette store and stuff. You know, these movies are all honored and influenced by these things that we used to see as kids.
Yeah.
And in Paranormal Investigations, what we really want to do is bring fresh locations. We don't want to do the same old places that everybody else does. We want to bring out fresh locations.
I love that.
And because to me, first and foremost, we're making a TV show, and we want it to be visually, but the way we do things is we also like people feeling like they're there with us, and that they're part of the team. They're having a good time, and they're catching the evidence as we catch it. We're really looking for a lot more of places that you've never seen before.
Wow.
Awesome. We're looking forward to it.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. Sorry that Kandi and Kirby weren't able to join us, but thank you. Amber, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. So before we go, just tell everyone where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Big and Funky Productions. It's biginfunkyproductions.com. You can also look at our crazy content on YouTube. And our movies are available on Walmart, on Fi, on Amazon, and
Best Buy.
We're about to release our third movie by the end of the year called Camp Smokey. And check out WJHCAM. And then The Hike is available on Amazon Prime. That's our first movie.
Okay.
And Amber, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook at holyredlightbatman.com. That's actually my handle.
What
is Holy Red Light Batman? I know.
You're fired.
I made it in like 2005. So don't judge me, okay?
Just kick her off the show. She's fired.
Get her out of here.
Just search Amber Schultz. You'll see me.
Awesome. This has been a great show. A lot of knowledge here. A lot of interesting thoughts going back and forth. Before I go, I'd like to leave off with a little sense of humor, because you guys have a great sense of humor. We know we met you firsthand. And anyone who's listening to the show, Big Luke is really big. He's a big guy in person. He's like 9 feet tall and 400 pounds. You don't want to mess with him. And then Vinny would just wrestle you down to the ground. But give us like a fun line for our listener out there. Like, bring some humor into the audience.
Wow. Bring some humor.
Uh-oh.
Dang, it's hard to do when you because I was sitting there, I was pretending, I don't know if I was pretending to take a bunch of pills before the show we came for, just to make you guys crack up.
A
bunch of prescription. Yeah, it's not real. No, it's not. See, we've been on our best behavior too. Like Luke and I was like, you can't cuss.
I know.
You can't say this.
Oh,
you can't say this about this particular body part. So if you've noticed this episode, Luke's kind of like, he looks like a headmaster down there. He's like, stop that. That's inappropriate. But I don't know, man. Luke's a very funny guy, and he has an obsession with things being too close to his babalones, and that's something you should see.
I don't like it.
Yeah, so he sits there and he measures that thing fell down. It's like 4 inches from my babalones. That's the type of stuff we're into. So I know that makes no sense to anybody listening.
Apparently, hold on.
Don't pick him up.
I want to pick him up.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Apparently, I have a rabbit now.
What is that? What is that? A rabbit?
It's a rabbit.
Oh, they're showing us a rabbit. Oh, really nice.
Rabbit.
What's the rabbit's name?
I don't know. It just got my kid and was at the fair, and now there's a rabbit. So
there you go.
That's always the way it works.
And guess what, everybody? That is a rabbit track. All right, everybody, our listeners out there, we are going to wrap it up for the next show coming on. Everyone, thank you so much. I mean, we'd love to have you guys on again. I didn't know it was 1 year, so yes, I really think we're in a matrix. This has been a fun show, and we will talk to you soon. And Julie, wrap it up.
Yeah, special thank you to Carnation for sponsoring the show. Special thank you for Vinny for drinking it. Join us next Monday night, 105.3 FM from New Orleans.
Everyone have a safe, great night. Listen to the show and share, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
All right. I got to go play with this rabbit. Take care.